Hello, and thank you for viewing. My name's Tamara Lopez with Victory Church, and today we're going to talk about the unknown God revealing himself to us. So before we dive in, I want us to think about a snowflake. So I know that this snowflake is just a wooden representation, but imagine that it's a real snowflake. What do we know about one? Well, we know that they're made of ice crystals. We know that they fall from the clouds, and if it's cold enough, they'll stick to the ground. Although where we're from here in this part of Texas, we don't see that very often. And then there's several things that we don't know about snowflakes, but we're gonna hold that thought and get back to it. So we're gonna jump into Acts chapter 17, and to lay a little bit of context before we go into the scripture passage, let me kind of tell you what was going on. Paul is there in Athens, and he's preaching in the city center about Jesus. He's telling them all, who Jesus is, what's this God doing, and what he wants to do in their own lives. And he's in there preaching, and there's philosophers all around the city. So in Athens, the philosophers would just sit around and they would talk about the new ideas of the time. So they hear him and they're like, hey, we need this guy to come to our city council meeting and we want to hear his ideas. Let's hear who he's talking about. So they invite him. So we're going to look at Acts chapter 17, verses 22 through 26. And I'm reading out of the ERV. So then Paul stood up before the council and said, "Men of Athens, everything I see here tells me that you are very religious. I was going through your city and I saw the things that you worship. I found an altar and it had these words written on it, 'To an unknown God.' You worship a God that you don't even know. This is the God I want to tell you about." So then through the end of this passage, through verse 26, Paul goes on to talk about who God is. I want to focus on a couple of phrases in that passage. To an unknown God. And Paul says, you worship a God that you don't even know. Then he proceeds to go on and tell them about the depth of God. Everything we need is in him. That's something that he says a couple of different times through the passage. So back to our snowflake. We look at this. Before it falls out of the sky, like I said, there's some things that are unknown about it, such as the pattern. What's it going to look like? Well, we don't know. Science tells us that there's no two snowflakes that look exactly alike. Also, the colder it is in a climate or an environment, the more detailed the pattern is. So that's unknown as well before it falls. Those are part of the mystery and the beauty of a snowflake. We get excited when we see snowflakes falling down, especially from where we're from. We don't ever see this. Snowflakes are beautiful. It's exciting. We celebrate it. And that's great. And then as a snowflake falls, maybe it gets in our hand, we get to see more about it. And you get to get past that surface level of just the beauty of a snowflake falling, but find out what it's really like. And we get to unfold this beauty and learn about the unknown parts of it. Well, as Christians, we love God. We celebrate him. We see the beauty of his mercy, his grace, the salvation that he's given us. It's beautiful. But at the same time, there's so many unknown facets of God that are waiting for discovery. Everything we need is truly in him. So engage in the discovery of God. Don't be satisfied with worshiping a God that's unknown to you. I don't want to be satisfied with that. I want to get past the surface level, that beauty, the surface level of the salvation that he's given. I want to dig deep into God to experience him uniquely within my own life. With every phase of life, turn to him. And you'll begin to learn new things about him that you never knew before. Maybe you've heard all your life that God's my provider. Are those just words? Or have you been through something where you didn't know how you were going to make it, that you didn't know the answer, and God provided? That's whenever this unknown beauty starts to unfold. And it's amazing to get to experience it for ourselves. So I encourage you just to, whenever you start feeling overwhelmed, you're anxious, you're fearful, you don't know what step to take next, lean on God, learn something new about him, find that unknown facet, discover it for yourself. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our video, comment, share it. We want to hear from you and know that Victory Church is here to help you however we can. Thank you.